Hey, welcome back to Staying Sober with Papa Joe. As you can tell, I am not in my studio. I'm actually watching a football game, but it's halftime right now, and I wanted to answer an email that somebody reached out to me and asked me this question. And that is, if they go to AA, they're having some problems with their drinking. Is it mandatory they go every single day? Well, so here's the deal. It's nothing's mandatory. Okay. Um, it all depends, in my opinion, on what the person wants to get out of it. Like for me, I went to AA every day for probably a good 6 months. I think I missed one day because I was in film school at the time. I started going to school late in life for film and video, and I had a production, and I had to miss a day because we were out on a location. But other than that, I went, and the reason I went primarily was I kind of liked the people that I was hanging out with. I also enjoyed some of the conversations there, and more, uh, I got more comfortable with myself being that I'm no longer drinking. And so for me, it was a good thing. I went for a long time, probably 4 or 5 years, pretty regularly, depending on work and everything. But I would say 4 or 5 times a week until work got in the way. But at that time, I was very comfortable, and I already knew that I wasn't going to drink no matter what. Um, so I tell everybody, everybody's different, man. If you go to AA, they're going to suggest doing 90-90. I mean, 90 meetings in 90 days. I think it's a good idea only because it gets you in the mindset that number one, hopefully you're not going to drink for the day. And number two, you're going to be sitting there talking with people and hopefully listening to people because that's the most important thing to do early on. And just taking in all you can. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. You don't have to do everything all at once. I know people that got there and they got the big book. They read through the whole big book, within a day or two, and they started doing steps and everything like this was some type of a race you got to get through. It's not that way. At least it wasn't for me. Um, I went to the meetings, I listened. There were some things I liked, some things I didn't, and that's fine. That's life, right? Some people are going to say things that you might not agree with, and you got to go, okay, that's fine. Now, for me, after I got some time, and then I started thinking about certain, we'll say, things that they talk about in AA, I would at that point question some of the things they were telling me. Now, some people were really nice and had a conversation with me. Others got very offensive or defensive, I don't know, saying, "Hey, just do what we tell you. If you're really serious about staying sober." Well, I'm not the type of person that is going to hang out with anybody that tells me this is what you need to do. Right? I already knew I was done drinking. I already knew that, but I was interested in the whole concept of AA, and I really enjoyed the stories that people were sharing because some of them are pretty fascinating, and also it was good just to listen to people talk and say, hey, I went through that, or I'm going through what they went through, and I see how they handled that situation. And a lot of times it wasn't about not drinking through it. It was about what they had to do to handle it. So I will never tell anybody this is what you have to do, other than you don't drink or use no matter what, and no matter what means no matter what if you want to stay sober and of course clean, if you're into drugs. That's the only thing that really works. And I have yet, and I've talked to many people that can tell me that that doesn't work. Right? Now, of course, there's going to be people that will tell you you've got to change your whole life. Well, yeah, there's certain things you should do, you may have to do, and there's other things no. I mean, I worked in the bar business while I was sober, or being sober, whatever, getting sober back then. Well, actually, I was already sober. I was in sobriety, and I was working in the bar. Let's put it that way. And I had people coming up to me all the time. Oh, you better be careful. You're in a slippery place. You know, be careful. Make sure you got phone numbers with you just in case you decide you're going to pick up. And I'm thinking, if I decide I'm going to pick up a drink, I'm not calling anybody because at that point, I want to drink and I'm going to drink and you're not going to stop me. All right. So, of course, I knew better and I wasn't going to pick up a drink. I would never have taken the position to work at the bar if I thought I would end up picking up a drink. And so, but everybody's different. Everybody's different. People, I've heard people that had problems with their relationships. You know, the husband drank, the wife was also drinking, then the wife quit. So I've heard the wife say in the meetings, should I leave my husband? He still drinks. Well, what kind of question is that to ask in a room full of people who don't know you really or your husband or the relationship yet? Just because he drinks, I don't know. I mean, we're not marriage counselors, but a lot of people there think they are because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people in AA that think they know everything just because they've got some time in sobriety. I'm going to tell you, they don't. And those that say they do, I'm going to give you a hint. Stay away from them. Okay. So I still recommend going to AA early on, unless you can maybe get with a church group if you're involved with your church. If they have a place, I would definitely suggest that maybe talk to some of the church members and see what kind of program they have and go through that. I know close by me there's a one-step program, I think it's called, or whatever. But ultimately, everything revolves around the same thing. You got to learn how to live without putting a drink or a drug in you. And that's what this book is all about. And I don't want to make it a shameless plug or anything like that, but all I do in this book is give you little stories of my life, which for some reason shaped me into wanting to pick up a drink. And then there was an instance in my life that I quickly realized I'm done. And then I talk about a few instances where I thought there was a chance that I could have picked up a drink, but I did something different. And early on, the first thing I did when I thought I was going to pick up a drink right after my wife left me, it was a day after my wife left me, took the kids, went back to New York. I was here alone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I wanted to drink, but instead, I remember what somebody said, get your ass into a meeting. So I left and I went to a meeting. And of course, I didn't drink. And I really didn't want to drink, but the thought of picking up because of the pain that I was feeling at the time, both emotionally and physically, because you know what happens. You break up with somebody, you're in a relationship that ends, you get that feeling in your gut where, oh, I can't take it, it hurts so much. Yes, I went through that. And I knew once I put a couple of beers in me, that pain would go away. But I didn't do it, thankfully. So, I'm very careful when somebody asks me for information or what I think they should do. All I can tell them is it's a suggestion. You gotta, excuse me, you gotta do what's right for you. Of course, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable walking into a group of strangers and maybe sitting down and sharing a little bit about yourself. It's not mandatory that you share right away, so don't worry about that. I think it's a good idea. And if you don't like it, go look for someplace else. But you need to have somebody. You should have somebody there with you. I mean, think about it this way. And I'm going to end this because I want to get back to watching the game. Anyways, I don't want to make long videos. But let's just say you've got a weight problem and you go to the gym and you get a trainer, and that trainer starts to work with you 3 days a week. And he's teaching you what exercises to do, what you should do for your cardio, and gives you some nutrition advice. And for 6 months or maybe even a year, you see this person 3 times a week, and all of a sudden you notice the change in your body, the change in your attitude, your eating habits have all changed. And then you start to realize, you know what? I got this. I understand. You had a good enough trainer that told you everything that you have to do because he can't do it for you. You took that information and you used that information, if you will. I'm trying to look for the right word to keep going and making the right choices for yourself. So yeah, you thank the trainer, and he went on his way, and you continued to do your workout and watch your nutrition. Kind of like a lot of people who went to AA or other places, they learned enough about themselves where they realized the one thing is they can't put a drink in them under any circumstances because that one drink will get you drunk. Because after the first one, there's going to be the second, the third, the fourth, and who knows what's going to happen after that. So we understand that you just can't put that first drink in you. Same with the drugs, right? You don't want to pop that pill or shoot up or whatever. Unfortunately, nowadays, you never know what that stuff is laced with, anyways. So it's never a good idea to do that. But you have to get the information and then you got to apply it and then get on with your life. For me, there's nothing more. I don't know the term I'm looking for, but there's nothing more, maybe heartbreaking, where I see or hear people that they tell me every day they go to an AA meeting because if they don't, they're afraid they're going to drink again. And I always say to them, what is it you don't get? What is it about you shouldn't put alcohol in you that's still not, registering with you? And if you're afraid, if you're using AA to get through life, it's no different than using a drink or a drug to get through life. You're using something outside of you. So take as much information as you can from people and then apply it to yourself. And if you go to an AA room or if you go to any support group, don't feel as though you're joining a new society of people. When they use terms like, well, you're one of us now. We're not like those other people out there, meaning the people that can drink. I never bought into that. I'm not one of anybody. I'm just somebody who abused alcohol for a long time, got into a lot of trouble, and said, hey, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it. I hated the word alcoholic when I was in the rooms. I listened to what they asked me to do. When I spoke, I said, hey, I'm Joey and I'm an alcoholic. I still hate that. But when I said that internally, what I heard myself say, I'm Joey and I drank alcoholically. So it was better for me to say that. I'm not saying you have to do that, but they want everybody to address themselves as an alcoholic. It is what it is when you're in somebody's house, right? Or whatever. But for me, that felt uncomfortable. But I did it anyways. And nowadays, if somebody finds out that I don't drink and they look at me and they say, are you an alcoholic? I'd say, why? Did you hear something? What, did somebody tell you something? And they would laugh. I said, listen, years ago I abused alcohol. I don't do that anymore. I don't know what you call it. All I know is I'm done with it. And I leave it at that. It's nobody's business. I was on Facebook and I got into some of these groups because I get a kick out of reading a lot of this stuff. And oh my God, these people, the stuff they write about their life and AA or this recovery and what they got to do and I'm just like, relax. Man. Do you want to drink? No. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Figure out what works for you. Keep doing it and get out and enjoy your life because I don't think, and I could be wrong, that anybody who's on their deathbed and a family member says to them, is there anything you really wish you could have done? You know, and now your time is coming, to an end. And I don't think anybody's going to say, yeah, if only I spent more time away from being with family and friends and attended more AA meetings or more recovery meetings. I don't think that's going to happen. So I always tell people, get your drinking under control. And if there's any other areas in your life you got to, um, you know, work on, and you work on them. My whole life hasn't been perfect. Still going through challenges now at 65 years old, but I got to go through them, and I go through them without a drink. So I'm going to end this. Get back to watching football. It's on. Don't drink or use no matter what, and no matter what means no matter what. It might help you at any time you want to talk. Feel free to give me an email. My email address is below. And if you got anything you want me to talk about on one of the shows here, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. So until next time, don't drink or use no matter what. And no matter what means no matter what. Have yourself a good one. Bye bye.